Hi, welcome to Southern Girl in the City. My name is Dominique Duarte, and I'm a singer-actor who currently lives in Brooklyn, New York. And today's podcast will be about mourning or having grief about the life that you wanted. I definitely thought my life would be a lot different at 36 than it is. There's no question of that. Like, I came into my adulthood with goals and dreams, and I wasn't just a person who said I'm gonna do this or I want to do this. Like, I actually took actions towards said thing many times. And things just didn't always turn out the way I thought. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not what I'm called to do, but I do think the way of me going about it has to change, as well as me trying to do everything by myself all the time is also not effective. I definitely have a hyper independence that probably has worked to my detriment. I don't think I said this in the podcast before, but I think last year was a turning point for me when I realized that how hyper independent I had become when I had to have eye surgery. And I didn't know that I needed someone to go with me until like 3 days before. And prior to that, I was just planning on taking an Uber. I know that doesn't sound very smart, but I just am so used to doing everything myself that I thought, okay, I'll have the surgery and then I'll get in an Uber and I'll go home by myself. Not realizing that someone has to go with me. Coincidentally, when I found this out, I was getting my hair done, and the woman who does my hair is also a member of a church that I went to for 3 years, and she ended up going with me to because I was required to have someone, and I wish I had known that prior, but I'm glad she went with me, and she prayed with me beforehand, and then she was there for me all the way up until she went in the Uber with me and took me home. And she didn't immediately leave me by myself. Like, she made sure I was okay before she left. She made sure to connect me with somebody in the neighborhood before she left. So, I mean, like, it was amazing. Like, and it's so crazy because I think I thought, I don't know. You never know who's going to show up for you. And I mean, she did go above and beyond, and I was really surprised. I mean, I knew her and I knew she was a really amazing person, but I just didn't know how much she was. My mom sent her flowers as a thank you, and she actually just had her birthday on Sunday. Happy birthday. But hyper independence is definitely something that I've learned. Like, I've just learned, okay, if it's if I don't do it, it's not gonna get done. So I just try to get it done. And asking other people for help has just been a challenge. I think too, because when you do ask someone for help, you're putting yourself out there, you're being vulnerable, and a lot of the times people don't show up. So it's just been a habit of just, okay, you'll figure it out yourself. But this was one instance where, like, I could have planned better. I also could have realized that maybe this was one time where that hyper independence was not going to be a good idea. But you live and learn. But it did make me realize, oh yeah, I should probably focus more on having community in my life. It's not easy to have in New York. I think people in New York a lot of times are workaholics, and not everybody, but most people are just going like this, and you just don't have, it's harder to connect. But I mean, I have friends, and I gained friends over the years. It's not like I don't have friends. I think I just don't always ask for help, or I'm not always vulnerable about maybe when I'm struggling. If I'm honest, I was like, this last week was really challenging for me mentally. I wasn't as productive as I would have liked to have been. Um, there was even a point where I even thought about moving back home, and I don't think that I have to move back home. I just think I have to learn how to ask for help, and I have to try to lean into the community that I have. And I just haven't always been doing that. And but this video is about mourning the life you never had, and like at this point I thought I'd be on Broadway at least once or twice. I thought I would have been on a national tour. Well, I did go on a national tour, but I mean a national tour in a musical. I was on a national tour with a choral ensemble, and it was for a month. But I thought I would have easily done that by now. And the crazy thing is, I have friends who have. Like, I have friends who have performed in union theaters, who've performed in national tours, who've performed on Broadway. I have 3 classmates from AMDA who were in my class every day who have been on Broadway. So it's just like, I'm only 3 degrees of separation from it being the case, but the timeline was slow, like very slow. And I think maybe it was all for a reason, because I think sometimes you can want something so badly, but it's just the timing. And I mean, I read the Bible, and I don't know if everyone does, but a lot of the people had callings on their lives, but a lot of those callings did not come to fruition for a long time. Like, Elizabeth wanted a baby, but she didn't get a baby until she was elderly. And I have to remember that just because too, if something doesn't come to fruition, I think people around you are like, well, you need to just do something else. You need to just try something else. And it's just like, okay, funny story. I did try something else. So I went into education. I tried to be a teacher. And when I say the doors kept slamming in my face in that department, I kept trying. And it was a door that I kept knocking on over and over again. And then it just, it was not where I was supposed to be. And it's one thing to be rejected in theater. It's a whole other thing to be rejected in education. The way I've been rejected in education is just like, man, this has been rough. It's been interesting. Let's just say that. I think that you really, I don't know. I want to say maybe praying. I mean, not everyone prays, but I have prayed, and I've prayed, and I've prayed, and I've prayed, and I've prayed so many times. Lord, what is your will for my life? I've prayed about, I feel like there are times where I've just cried, and I'm like, I surrender everything to you, because I know that I try to control everything all the time. And then I'll try, and then I'll say the prayer, and I'll be in tears, and then I'll go back to living my life, and I'll go right back to try to controlling everything. It's just like, I don't know. So grief is something that we discuss very little. Even when it does come to death, I think even when people lose people don't know how to respond to it. And then and so I always thought the only way to grieve something was if someone died. But what I didn't realize is that you can also grieve things that didn't go the way you thought. I mean, I've been here for almost 10 years in August, and I think that I didn't think I'd be on Broadway within a year, which is crazy, because one of my classmates ended up on Broadway within like 6 months of meeting her, okay? Like, and she was from Oregon, Happy Valley, Haley Kilgore. So I don't know, like, for some people it is instantaneous. But I was talking to my vocal coach, and he's been here about the same amount of time as me. He's been here a little longer, and we're the same age. And he was saying that he's only just starting to get to where he wants to be. He got to play in Mamma Mia on Broadway recently. That was his first time, I think. So everybody's timeline is different, but it doesn't always mean that you're on the wrong track. It just means that maybe you need to change your approach. I think my approach was always just go, 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 work, work, work. And I really wasn't involving much community or making much connection or networking very well. Networking is a skill in itself. Talking to people is not easy for me, and I don't always feel like I make a lot of connections with people. I do and I don't. So I'd say it's hit or miss. Like, there is a woman that I went on that was on the cruise ship with me. Her and her sister and her mom were on the ship. I saw them for 1 week in June of last year, and she came to visit New York a few weeks ago, and she took me to a show. So then it's kind of strange to me, because it's just like, how is it like some people I feel like I do connect with, and then there's just some people where it's like, I don't know, I just don't connect as easily, because that is insane. I mean, how is it I go from working on a cruise ship with this, working for the family, as in like serving them, and then end up meeting one of them to go see a show in New York, like. And then even my choir director, my theater director, he comes here usually once a year, once every 2 years, and when he comes, he always takes me to see something. This year we went to see Porgy and Bess at the Metropolitan Opera. So it's like, I don't know. It's not like I don't make any connections with people. It's just, I feel like sometimes it comes more naturally for other people. But I definitely feel like I use this week to try to like maybe grieve what I wish that I had. Like, I did want to be in a better financial place. I definitely wanted to have, retirement, a lot more money in there in the retirement fund. I would have liked to have gone out of the country, because I've still never been out of the country, because I don't really go on vacations. I don't really go anywhere other than America, and I thought my career was going to get me out of the country, and then that didn't happen. And so it's not that it won't happen, but it hasn't. I am applying for theaters every day. I'm applying for TV and film. I'm still taking this class with Wendy Braun, the actress. She actually just booked a show. There's plenty of articles about it. I'm so sorry, I cannot remember the name now, but I will mention it in another podcast episode, because Wendy Braun, you just could Google her, Wendy, and then her last name is Braun, Braun, and she's an actress, and taking her course has been very transformative. I've done 2 modules. One of the second module, at the end of the first module, you were supposed to buy yourself flowers, which was something I had never done before. I never bought myself flowers before. And the end of the second module was to clean out the clutter. And that could mean anything. Like, it can mean organizing your stuff, but it can also mean organizing who you want in your life. So I organized my room, and my desk has always been on the opposite side of the room, not near the window, which in theory never made sense, because I'm trying to shoot videos all the time, so I should be near the light, but for some reason I always had the desk over there. And I've been in this house for almost 4 years. For some reason I always put the desk over there. She had said in the video too that someone had come to her home and told her that, if you want to make room for someone in your life, you having your bed up against the corner walls shows that maybe you don't want anyone in your life. And I was like, I never knew. So I try to feng shui the room. So I have my bed in a different position now, and I'm able to like put a bookshelf, and I actually got real drawers for the first time, because I've been living out of these little plastic containers from Target. I don't even think I got it from Target. I think I got it from like the 99-cent store when I moved in the neighborhood. But now I have actual drawers. I have a bookshelf. I feel like I have a workspace now in my room. So like this side of the room is keyboard and desk, and and my music stand, and then on the other side is my bed and all of the things I need for getting ready. And I think that that's a really nice divide, because this is clearly my workspace, this is clearly my sleeping space. And I think separating the two will help me also be more productive in my room, because I really have a hard time rehearsing. I discuss this with my vocal coach too, because he's just like, I'm just like, how is it I never want to rehearse? Like, why don't I ever want to rehearse? And he was saying a similar thing. He's like, when I go home, I don't really rehearse either. And I'm like, how is it I was so disciplined in school? I would rehearse all the time and it wasn't a problem. But I think as an adult, me being more consistent about rehearsing has been hit or miss. Like, if I know I have a performance coming up, I'll rehearse. If I know that I have an audition coming up, I'll rehearse. But like, as far as it becoming like a regular thing for me, it's not. And I don't know if I maybe need to go to like a place like the Brooklyn Conservatory or something to rent out a room. Maybe that'll encourage me more. But I think the room can work. I think now that I've switched the setup of the room, I think it will make it better for me. I'll know that this space is devoted for music and shooting videos, and this space is for rest. And by me having that designation, I think it will lead to better opportunities. So yeah, just give yourself time to actually feel your feelings. I have been in survival mode probably ever since I moved to New York. I think this is the first time I've ever come out of survival mode. From 2016 all the way up until just January, December of 2025, I've just been going nonstop from one thing to the next to the next to the next. I barely had vacations. I rarely took off. I was always working 2 and 3 jobs, sometimes doing shows. It just is a lot. And it was like that in Memphis too. Like, I was always working all the time, and I just was always going to the next thing, going to the next thing, going to the next thing. And even though I would go to therapy here and there, I don't think I was ever really sitting with my feelings. I just was always pushing the feelings and then just going into the next thing. What I like about this season is I'm able to sit down. I didn't immediately go into full-time work. I decided to, I work at an after-school program. I'm able to sub. And then because I worked on the cruise ship, I just filed for unemployment, because most actors or actresses do that. So if you're an actor and actress, let's say you book an equity job. You book the job, and then when you come home, you file unemployment. And then when you get another job, you stop filing for unemployment and you go into work as an actor. And I got this. I never even thought of doing this until one of my friends said that this is what she does. And it makes sense, because as an actor, you need the flexibility to go to auditions. And that has been the biggest Achilles heel for me, is trying to find a job that doesn't take all of my energy away from going to an audition. Now, when I worked at Trader Joe's, I actually thought that was supposed to be the ideal situation, because I was getting off at midnight, 1 o'clock, and then that would free me up in the mornings to go audition. And it kind of worked, and it kind of didn't, because I think I was just exhausted. So a lot of the times I wasn't auditioning as much. I did audition. I think I went to like 30 auditions while I was working at Trader Joe's in person. But it wasn't as frequent as I would have liked. I think I should have found a job that was more flexible, like I currently have. I work also as a server with a company called Amerivents, and with that, I just accept and decline a shift. But anyway, just having rest is new for me. Like, I've been able to actually rest in January, February, and March, in a way that I've never been able to rest. And I think by me resting, it actually has caused me to have to really deal with my feelings and my emotions in a way that I don't think I've given myself a chance to do. And in that, I learned, I should probably grieve the life that I thought I was going to have, because I definitely thought I don't know if I thought I was going to have a partner at this point. I knew eventually maybe I would have a partner, but I don't know if I thought I'd have it by 36. I definitely think I thought I would have dated more. That's for sure. But no, it just hasn't happened. And I don't know. Like, it ain't happening. Well, yeah. So with that one, I kind of knew it would probably happen later. But with the career, I definitely thought, I would have seen the world at this point. I would have been going everywhere, and I wouldn't have worked so many jobs that I didn't have any type of passion or like for. I just did because I needed to make a paycheck. And I'm just going to be honest. And even working with children, it's like I like working with kids. Don't get me wrong. But I noticed something even the other day when I worked with this group of children, is that when I read them a book, it is the most attentive and engaged they ever are with me, is when I read them a book. And I find that interesting because when I'm reading a book, I'm performing. And I would say classroom management has always been a challenge for me with children, but even more so because it's been such a long time since I was a lead teacher, that even in this one environment where I'm only working 1 day a week, I'm finding a hard time with classroom management. But the one time when I feel like they're completely 100% engaged and I don't feel like I'm stressing as much, like I don't even feel like I'm working as much, is when I read them the book every time. And I don't know what it is, because yesterday when I read the book, I didn't even feel like I was doing that much. But for some reason, it's like they're locked in. And I was talking to a friend recently about, purpose. And I think a lot of the times I'm just not walking in my purpose. A lot of the times the reason why I'm unhappy is because I'm trying to do all these things to make money, but it's not something that necessarily is fulfilling for me or something that I really have a passion for. So I'm just kind of going through the motions. The reason I brought up the book is because there's this theater that I found that's a children's theater, and I was going to audition for it in a couple of weeks. And it's an equity children's theater, and it's actually in New York, and I would still be working in New York. I wouldn't have to go out to other states, because if I'm honest, if I book a national tour, I will take it, hey. But there's a part of me that doesn't feel like so gung-ho about doing a national tour the same way that I used to. I think because I am older. Like when I was in my 20s, a national tour sounded like an amazing thing, and now at 36, I'm just like, I would rather not have to go that far. Not for 9 months, 6 months, a year or more. Like I saw one of the girls I follow, she's a dancer. Her name is Stephanie Renee. I don't know how to say her last name. Sellers? I think Sellers. I follow her, and she's a dancer, and she was on the tour of Moulin Rouge, and she was on tour for a year and a half. And she quit. But I can now understand why, because I went on tour for a month and I loved it. However, I don't know if I could have done it for a year. It is a lot on your body, and it's a lot on your spirit. And you're traveling with the same group of people. Like it's an experience. So I get it. Like I don't know if a national tour is necessarily something I want to do. Broadway, sure. National tour, maybe not so much. I definitely want to do more TV and film work. I actually just shot a self-tape for something right before this. I did this vision with the Wendy class that I'm taking, and in the vision, I visualized myself on set. I didn't visualize myself on stage. So there's a part of me that's like, I don't really know. Do I still have that same gung-ho attitude about Broadway and musical theater, especially because it is changing so much? I kind of think TV and film might be a better fit. But hey, I am still not opposed to being on a stage. I love being on stage. It's never going to end that I don't love being on stage. But definitely I'm trying to figure out the focus. One plus about doing children's theater is that I would get to be the lead, and I rarely get to be the lead in regular theater. I'm always like a feature role, which is great because it's a light lift. However, it also doesn't teach you the skills to carry a show. And so I've never really, despite the fact that I've been acting since I was 18 years old and I'm 36, I've never had the experience of leading a show. And if you are leading the show, you learn a lot of skill sets that can carry you further. And I think working in a children's theater, which, by the way, I have applied for several, I think would help me be able to step into the lead spot more consistently, and I would also get to perform more consistently, and I get to perform for an audience that I'm familiar with because I work with kids all the time. I've worked with children off and on for now 12, 13 years. So we're going to audition for that, and we're going to see what happens. I'm just going to try my best. That's all I can do. But if life hasn't gone the way you thought, maybe take some time to mourn. I think that one of the things about Wendy's class is that I think people want to just ignore the hurt part and just move on to the next. But if you don't deal with the hurt part or the disappointment part or your negative feelings, then you're just going to continue to get in your own way. But if you actually take those feelings and you feel your feelings and you take them head on and you figure out the why behind them, then you can move on. But I think in our society, we just want to feel better, and we just want to be happy. And it's like, okay, that's great, but you also need to figure out why are you feeling this way, and sit with those feelings. And this is the first time that I think I've ever really sat with my feelings, and done journaling and exercises in a way that I've never done before. So grieving the life that you never had, like, just grieve it. And then I think once you do that, I think that maybe the doors will open. And also, once you figure out where do you want to go, because that's a big thing in her class too, is figuring out where do you want to go. I always just said I want to perform, but I wasn't being specific. And when you get specific, then I think the doors will start to open. But if you're just vague and it doesn't open you up as much. So I'm learning a lot from this class. I really suggest it if you're an actor. She offers the class every year. It's pretty expensive, but I would take it. It's worth it because she offers the class every year and you don't have to pay for one time. So you pay the 1 year and then you don't have to pay ever again, but you can take the class every year. I plan on taking this class every year because I need it. I definitely need it. And I definitely needed some direction as to how to handle the mental aspect of acting, which is not discussed enough. I mean, I think we talk about the business side and we talk about the performance side, but you don't really talk about the mental side of it. I was watching this video today where this guy was talking about how he was feeling a way about every time he gets an audition from his agent, all of the different things that goes in his head. And watching that video was really interesting. It was funny, but it was also makes me realize why auditioning is so difficult, because every single time you have to put yourself out there, and even once you book a job, once that job ends, you have to do it again. And no matter what you have on your resume, it doesn't make it any easier for you to book again. I think people think you hit a certain point as an actor and you don't have to do anything anymore, and it ain't true. I think even some people who are really, really successful, especially black actors and actresses, have said that they still have to do a lot. So if you want to be in the performing arts, you really have to get your mental in check, because your mental will definitely it will challenge you, and it will make you crazy. You know, I mean, my level of anxiety every time I have to go to an audition, shoot a self tape, is high. So yeah. More in the life that you didn't have, and then try to get clarity and specificity about what you want to do if your life isn't going the way you want it to, because I think everyone's life could go the way they wanted if they would just be specific and actually deal with the rough feelings, deal with those hard feelings, and then maybe try not to control so much, because I yeah, try to control all the things and just let it go. The more you let go, the more I think things will be okay. And find community. I hope you have a lovely week. This has been Southern Girl in the City. Bye.